CD Projekt Red's co-founder Marcin Winski has made an apology video apologizing for the condition of Cyberpunk 2077 when it released. Let's check out the video.
Hey everyone, my name is Marcin Winski and I'm the co-founder of Projekt. When I started Projekt 25 years ago, one of its founding principles was honest and direct communication with gamers. When Projekt Red, the game development part of Projekt, was born, it added something important to that principle, the ambition to make the best games in the world. It became our mission and something that guided us up until now. Based on that legacy of genuine and honest communication, you've trusted us and pre-ordered our game. And despite good reviews on PC, the console version of Cyberpunk 2077 did not meet the quality standard we wanted it to meet.
Well, neither did the PC version. Okay, he's talking about the fact that the reviews were great for PC, but I am not one that played on PC, so feel free to let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong about this, but at the time of release, I played on PlayStation 4. I know upon release it was a goddamn mess there, but according to what I've seen, the comment section and what I've seen people say on like Reddit posts and such, and according to my friends on the PC, it wasn't that much better than the console launch. It was not that much better. It was still pretty poor. The quality of the game was still pretty poor on PC, and one of my friends said it was completely unplayable for her. So I just wanted to make that clear real quick. It wasn't that much more fantastic on PC upon release. Let's continue.
I and the entire leadership team are deeply sorry for this, and this video is me publicly owning up to that. Please don't fault any of our teams for what happened. They all are incredibly talented and hardworking. Myself and the board are the final decision makers, and it was our call to release the game.
Wow. Okay, good stuff. So I love the fact that he's straight up saying, hey, the reason why the game was basically rushed out and released in such a poor condition isn't the fault of the developers. The developers worked their ass off. They're awesome. They're great, and we all know that. We were never blaming the developers. We all knew it was the people at the top, rushing the game for most likely for the holidays, and that's what happened here. And it is very nice to see him say, hey, again, the developers are awesome. This is our fault at the top, the leadership team, me included. So that was nice to see. Let's continue. I just wanted to touch on that. Didn't expect that.
Although, believe me, we never ever intended for anything like this to happen. I assure you that we'll do our best to regain your trust. Now I'd like to tell you how the situation looked like from the inside. Cyberpunk 2077 is huge in scope. And I'm not only talking about quests or things you see at first glance. I'm talking about a multitude of custom objects, interacting systems, and mechanics. In the game, everything is not stretched out over flat terrain where we can make things less taxing hardware-wise, but condensed in one big city and in a relatively loading-free environment. On its own, this is a challenge, but we made it even more difficult for ourselves by wanting to make the game look epic on PCs and then adjusting it to consoles, especially old gens. That was our core assumption, and things did not look super difficult at first. We knew the hardware gap, yes, but ultimately, I think that time has proven that we've underestimated the task. To give a concrete example, and the main culprit, we had to constantly improve our in-game streaming system for all-gen consoles. Streaming is responsible for feeding the engine with what you see on screen, as well as the game mechanics. And since the city is so packed and the disk bandwidth of all gens is what it is, it constantly challenged us. Every change and improvement needed to be tested, and as it turned out, our testing did not show a big part of the issues you experience while playing the game.
What?
As we got closer to the final release, we saw significant improvements each and every day, and we really believed we would deliver in the final Day Zero update.
What do you mean? What do you mean in your testing you did not see any issues? Excuse me? That's a lie. That's a goddamn lie. Like, all you had, I don't know who tested the fucking game, but all you have to do is turn it on and play it for maybe like 10 minutes before, not even before you start running into like issues, before you start running into graphical problems and glitches, bugs, errors. Like, you don't have to get that far into the game to immediately run into problems. So that's a goddamn lie. Let's continue.
Now let's talk about the review process. We started sending our PC review keys in the first days of December. On launch day, December 10th, we hit the ground running with a really good start on PC. While not perfect, it's a version of Cyberpunk we are very proud of. At the same time, we're fighting for quality on all-gen consoles till the very last moment. And every extra day of us working on the Day Zero update brought visible improvement. This is why we started sending console review keys on the 8th of December, which was later than we originally planned. This all happened while working from home with all the challenges resulting from the COVID-related restrictions. A lot of the dynamics we normally take for granted got lost over video calls or email, and we took that hit too.
All right, well, okay. We cannot fault them for the COVID-19 pandemic and whatever unique challenges COVID-19 has inflicted upon, working on this game. But what can be said is the fact that they easily could have, they delayed the game like 3-4 times already. They could have, even though nobody really wanted them to do that. I know that, even though I was one of those people that was like, oh, don't delay the game again, bro, what are you doing? A lot of people were like, hey, we don't mind, take your time. And it would have been, based off what I'm seeing with everyone else, it would have been perfectly fine and acceptable for them to delay the game again, especially for, this is good reason. If they would have just said, hey, we have to delay the game one more time, we're so sorry, it has to do, we're running into issues because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that's out of their control. Everyone's facing issues with that. But I think one other thing that can be said is the fact that CD Projekt Red is not the only gaming industry or gaming company facing unique challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's affecting everybody. So other people are able to come out and get through it and come out with games. Other people have to do things through Zoom and email and phone calls and all that stuff, and they're releasing games perfectly fine. Even smaller gaming or even smaller studios, even indie teams are making it work. So. But again, not mad at that. We don't know exactly what problems they face, so let's move on.
Now I'd like to tell you about our plans for the future and present a path for Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles and PC. We have already released 3 hotfixes improving the game, but that's just the beginning.
Not by much.
Our ultimate goal is to fix the bugs and crashes gamers are experiencing across platforms. Please expect bigger and smaller patches on a regular basis. The first update will be dropping within 10 days, and it will be followed by another, more significant one in the following weeks. We will, of course, continue to work on the game in future updates and improvements beyond that. Our big plans for supporting Cyberpunk in the long term did not change. As for the free DLCs, our initial plan was to deliver them just after the release.
2022?
Much like we did with The Witcher 3. We decided to focus on the most important fixes and updates first, and we'll be releasing the DLCs afterwards. Expect more information in the upcoming months. For those of you playing on next-gen consoles in back compatibility, you can still expect the...
I wonder why they made it so that the free DLCs is coming before the free next-gen console update. I feel as though that should be switched around. But I based off what I've heard, again, not entirely sure. I'm not playing on next-gen console. I could not get my hands on a PlayStation 5, as we discussed several times before. I guess... my understanding is that people playing on next-gen console they're definitely running into issues, but maybe not as much as previous gen. So maybe it's not so bad that they need these updates right away. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys.
Free next-gen update for Xbox Series consoles and PlayStation 5 arriving in 2021. We are aiming at the second half of the year. I'd like to end this video by assuring you that we treat this entire situation very seriously and are working hard to make it right. The guiding principles of our company are still core to what we do. We still want to make amazing games and have an open communication with you, our players. For now, our immediate focus is to work hard on making sure you enjoy Cyberpunk 2077 regardless of platform. Beyond Cyberpunk, we have many plans for the future, which we'll share more about when we're ready. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.
All right, so let's do a very quick rundown as to why CD Projekt Red had to come out and make this apology. For those of you that already do know, bear with me, this won't be too long. We're just going to do a quick run through. First off, the game was buggy as fuck on release. That is an understatement. It was buggy as hell across all platforms. In addition to that, Cyberpunk 2077 was removed from the PlayStation Store. In addition to that, CD Projekt Red is facing multiple lawsuits due to the fact that CD Projekt Red lied about the condition of the game, not only to us, the consumers, not only to Sony, the platform they were selling the game on, but also to their investors. You obviously cannot lie to your investors, but that's what they did, and now their investors are turning around and suing them. And walking away. In addition to the lawsuits from their investors, a law firm in Poland is actually going to launch an investigation on CD Projekt Red because of all the lies and the condition of the game and the way it released. Also, another big one is that CD Projekt Red did not allow reviewers to show their own footage of the game. CD Projekt Red instead made these reviewers only show footage that CD Projekt Red allowed to go through or they picked. Obviously, this gameplay footage was not on any of the console versions of the game, even though he even stated that the PC versions of the game was not perfect. It was definitely much better and much more presentable than the console version. So they just figured, all right, let's hide the console versions, the console footage of the game, and let's only show the PC version. This is a problem. This is hiding the condition of the game from reviewers, Sony, and your investors. And it needs to be said, this game has been in development for 8 years. This game has been in the works for 8 years, and it barely even looks like it does not look like they put 8 years of work into this game at all. At least not to me. But in addition to that 8 years of development, they delayed the game like 3-4 times, and for me, it's like, what happened? Like, do you lack time management? Like, time management skills? Like, what were you doing within that time? He said that they did not see the bugs in testing. That is a goddamn lie. It is not. You do not have to go that far into the game to discover the bugs, glitches, and errors that only get worse the farther you go into the game. I am talking about before the patches, but based off what I've heard, I am no longer playing the game. I will touch on that in a moment. The second patch made things worse, and then things got like moderately better in the third patch. That's what I've heard. I'm not entirely sure. And I think it was very obvious to everyone that they rushed this game out before the holidays. They wanted that holiday cash money. So that's why it was released in such a poor condition after all the delays. After that, once the holiday rolled around, they had to release it. They wanted that money. One of the things that I really wanted him to touch on that he did not touch on at all was that Cyberpunk 2077 released with there was a bunch of promised features that just never made it in the game. What happened? So hopefully within the updates, not only do they need to take care of the rendering issues, the AI problems with the police, people clipping in, like the police officers just teleporting in front of you, and a bunch of other issues. They also need to work on that. But I'm pretty sure somewhere on that roadmap, especially with that one part that didn't have any times or dates, at some point all the problems that we're going to see now will be worked on. The only thing I'm not sure will be corrected, like you can correct the broken police AI, the enemy AI, and all of those other plethora of issues, the rendering issues, everything else. You can fix those. But what I'm not certain about, because it was never touched on, is these straight up missing features in the game. Personally, I already returned Cyberpunk 2077. I returned the game based off merit. Personally, I do not think it's a good idea for people to just accept his apology and move on. I do not think we should normalize No Man's Sky type behavior. So maybe I will get the game when the game is done, like done, when I can play the game the way it's supposed to be played, the way it's meant to be played, what I paid $60 for originally. There's a lot of people in the comment section of this video perfectly pleased with the fact that he came out and apologized and are saying that, oh, we're looking forward to what the game is supposed to be, but oh God, you're forgetting the fact that when you paid $60 for this game, it should have been done when you bought it. And all I'm seeing is the fact that they were able to take an unfinished game, rush it out before the holidays, had everybody all hyped up, so everybody rushed to spend their money, their $60 on this game. They got in trouble by Sony and law firms and lawsuits coming towards them, and people were pissed off, and they were just, getting hit in all directions, and now they're pressured into making this apology, and now everybody's looking at this roadmap like, oh, well, he said sorry, at least they're fixing the game, that's cool. No, I don't accept that. Again, you're forgetting that the game should have been done on release. This whole problem could have been avoided with another delay or maybe better time management. Because again, they easily could have just said, hey, COVID-19 is hindering our ability to give you the game that you want. We're running into technical problems or what have you, and we need to delay this game one more time, and that will be it. So we apologize, but thank you so much for understanding. And if they would have just said, COVID-19, I'm pretty sure everybody would have been like, oh yeah, like we're all going through it right now. That's fine. But no, instead you spent $60 for a game that released like shit, and now everybody's gonna now be excited to follow this roadmap. There's gonna be videos everywhere of like, reaching for crumbs. The new update is here. No. The game should have been done on release, and now everybody's going to be hyped up, up until 2022, it said, for the game to finally be put in a condition, or finally reach a condition that it should have been in on release. I don't support that. I personally feel as though if it wasn't for the lawsuits coming their way, if it wasn't for the investigations coming their way, if it wasn't for them being pressured into doing refunds, if it wasn't for Sony removing or, doing refunds themselves and other platforms doing refunds and removing the game from the PlayStation Store, I don't even think you would be seeing this apology. Because they could have done this apology way sooner. To me, all this is CD Projekt Red begging for investors to trust them again, begging for the general public to trust them again because they didn't expect the backlash that they got. They thought they could probably get away with it, just like No Man's Sky. Oh, release the game even though it's not done. It's fine. It's fine. They'll be all right. To me, all that's happening is that CD Projekt Red was pressured into doing things like refunds. They're getting in trouble left, right, and center. And now all that's happening is that they're begging the general public. They're begging their investors to come back, and they're begging the general public to allow them to, even though refunds are available, hey, here's why you should allow us to keep your money. Please. I know we didn't sell you the game right or sell it in a proper condition. You didn't buy what you were expecting, but please, there's missing features that we don't even know if is going to be in the game at all. But please, let us keep your money, and just take the updates, take the crumbs up until 2022. No, absolutely not. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.